Honourable members, a fair transition for farmers, families and industry. This is the hallmark of this mandate. And it is all the more important as we face strong economic headwinds. I see three major economic challenges for our industry in the year ahead: labour and skill challenges, inflation, and making business easier for our companies. The first has to do with our labour market. We have not forgotten the early days of the global pandemic, when everyone predicted a new wave of 1930-style mass unemployment. But we defied this prediction. With SURE, the first ever European short-time work initiative, we saved 40 million jobs. This is and was Europe's social market economy in action, and I think we can be proud of it. We then immediately restarted our economic engine thanks to Next Generation EU. And today we see the results. Europe is close to full employment. Instead of millions of people looking for jobs, millions of jobs are looking for people. Labour and skill shortages are reaching record levels, both here and across all major economies. 74% of SMEs are saying they are facing skill shortages. In the peak of the tourist season, restaurants and bars in Europe are reducing their hours because they cannot find the staff they need. Hospitals are postponing treatments because lack of nurses and doctors. And 2/3 of European companies are looking for IT specialists, 2/3. At the same time, millions of parents, mostly mothers, are struggling to reconcile work and family because there is no appropriate childcare. And 8 million young people are neither in employment, nor in education, nor in training. 8 million. Their dreams put on hold, their lives on standby. This is not only the cause of so much personal distress, it is also one of the most significant bottlenecks of our competitiveness. Because labour shortages hamper the capacity for innovation, growth and prosperity. So we need to improve access to the labour market, most importantly for young people, for women, and we need qualified migration. In addition, we need to respond to the deep-rooted shifts in technology, society, and demography. And for that, we should rely on the expertise of business and trade unions, our collective bargaining partners. It is almost 40 years ago since Jacques Delors convened the Val-Duchesse meeting that saw the birth of European social dialogue. Since then, social partners have shaped the union of today, ensuring progress and prosperity for millions. And as the world around changes faster than ever, social partners must again be at the heart of the future. Together, we must focus on the challenges facing the labour market, from skills and labour shortages to new challenges like AI. This is why, together with the Belgian presidency, next year, we will convene a new social partner summit once again at Val-Duchesse. The future of Europe will be built with and by the social partners. This is our task. The second major economic challenge, persistent high inflation. Christine Lagarde and the European Central Bank are working hard to keep inflation under control. We know that returning to the ECB's medium-term target will take some time. The good news is that Europe has started bringing energy prices down. We have not forgotten Putin's deliberate use of gas as a weapon and how it triggered fears of blackout and an energy crisis like in the 70s. Many thought we would not make it through the winter, because of lack of energy, but we made it. We made it because we stayed united, pooling our demand and buying energy together. And at the same time, and different to the 70s, we used this crisis to massively invest in renewable energy and fast-track the clean transition. We used Europe's critical mass to bring prices down and secure our supply. Just take this, the price for gas in Europe was over 300 euros per megawatt hour 1 year ago. It is now around 35, 300 today, 35. So we need to look at how we can replicate this model of power, purchasing power at the market, a model of success also in other fields like critical raw materials and, for example, clean hydrogen. The third challenge of European companies is about making it easier to do business. Small companies do not have the capacity to cope with complex administration, or they are held back by lengthy processes. This often means they do less with the time they have, and that they miss out on opportunities to grow. This is why, before the end of the year, we will appoint an EU SME envoy reporting directly to me. We want to hear directly from small and medium enterprises about their everyday challenges. For every new piece of legislation, we conduct a competitiveness check by an independent board. And next month, we will make the first legislative proposal towards reducing reporting obligations at the European level by 25%. Honourable members, let's be frank, this will not be easy, and we will need your support, because this is a common endeavour for all European institutions. So we also have to work with member states to match the 25% of reduction also at national level. I think it's time to make business easier in Europe. But European companies also need access to key technologies to innovate, develop and manufacture. And this is a question of European sovereignty, as the leaders underlined in Versailles. It is an economic and national security imperative to preserve a European edge on critical and emerging technologies. This European industrial policy also requires common European funding. And this is why, as part of our proposal for a review of our budget, we proposed the STEP platform. With STEP, we can boost, leverage and steer EU funds to invest in everything from microelectronics to quantum computing and AI, from biotech to clean tech. Our companies need this support now. So I urge for a quick agreement on our budget proposal, and I know I can count on this House. And there's more when it comes to competitiveness. We have seen real bottlenecks along global supply chains, including because of the deliberate policies of other countries. Just think about China's export restrictions on gallium and germanium, which are essential for goods like semiconductors and solar panels. This shows why it is so important for Europe to step up on economic security, de-risking, not decoupling. And I'm very proud that this concept has found broad support from key partners, from Australia to Japan and the United States. And many other countries around the world want to work together. Many are overly dependent on a single supplier for critical raw materials. Others, from Latin America to Africa, want to develop, rightly so, local value chains, local industries for processing and refining. instead of just shipping their resources abroad. This is why later this year we will convene the first meeting of our Critical Raw Materials Club. At the same time, we will continue to drive open and fair trade. So far, we have concluded new free trade agreements with Chile, with New Zealand, with Kenya. We should aim to complete deals with Australia, Mexico, and Mercosur by the end of this year, and soon thereafter with India and Indonesia. I think smart trade delivers good jobs and prosperity. Honourable members, these three challenges, labour, inflation and business environment, come at a time when we are also asking industry to lead on the clean transition. So we need to look further ahead and set out how we remain competitive as we do that. And that is why I have asked Mario Draghi, one of Europe's great economic minds, to prepare a report on the future of European competitiveness, because Europe will do whatever it takes to keep its competitive edge. Now, when it comes to making business and life easier, we have seen how important digital technology is. It is telling that we have far overshot the 20% investment target in digital projects in Next Generation EU. Member States have used that investment to digitize the healthcare system, justice system, transport network, and at the same time, Europe has led on managing the risks of the digital world. The Internet was born as an instrument for sharing knowledge, opening minds, and connecting people. It still is. But it has also given rise to serious challenges: disinformation, spread of harmful content, risk to the privacy of our data. All of this led to a lack of trust and sometimes a breach of fundamental rights of people. In response, Europe has become the global pioneer of citizens' rights in the digital world. The DSA and DMA are creating a safer digital space where fundamental rights are protected. And they are ensuring fairness and clear responsibility for big tech. This is an historic achievement, and I think we should be proud of it. The same should be true for artificial intelligence. It will improve, without any question, healthcare, boost productivity, address climate change. We need it. But we also should not underestimate the real threats coming from AI, mostly Gen AI. Hundreds of leading AI developers, academics, and experts warned recently in the following words, and I quote, "Mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority, alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war." End of quote. AI is a general technology that is accessible, powerful, and adaptable for a vast range of uses, both civilian and military. And it is moving faster than even its developers anticipated. So we have a narrowing window of opportunity to guide this technology responsibly. And I believe Europe, together with partners, should lead the way on a new global framework on AI built on 3 pillars: guardrails, governance, and guiding innovation. First, guardrails. Our number one priority is to ensure AI develops in a human-centric, transparent, and responsible way. And this is why in my political guidelines I committed to setting out a legislative approach in the first 100 days. You remember we put forward the AI Act, the world's first comprehensive pro-innovation AI law. And I want to thank this House and the Council for the tireless work on this groundbreaking law. Our AI Act is already a blueprint for the whole work. We must now focus on adopting the rules as soon as possible and turn to implementation. The second pillar is governance. We are now laying the foundation for a single governance system in Europe. But we should also join forces with our partners to ensure a global approach to understanding the impact of AI on our societies. Now, think about the invaluable contribution of the IPCC for climate. This is a global panel that provides the latest science to policymakers. I believe we need a similar body for AI, on the risks and on its benefits for humanity. Yes, with scientists, but also tech companies and independent experts all around the world. This will allow us to develop a fast and globally coordinated response, building on the work done by the Hiroshima process and others. And the third pillar is guiding innovation in a responsible way. Thanks to our investment in the last years, Europe has now become a leader in supercomputing, with 3 out of the 5 most powerful supercomputers in the world. So we need to capitalize on that. And this is why I can announce today a new initiative to open up our high-performance computers to AI startups that gives them the opportunity to train their models, but in a responsible way. But this will only be one part of our work to guide innovation. What we need is an open dialogue with those that develop and deploy AI. This dialogue happens already in the United States. As you know, 7 major tech companies have already agreed to voluntary rules around safety, security, and trust. It happens here, where we will work on AI companies, with AI companies, so that they voluntarily commit to the principles of the AI Act before it enters into force, because we cannot lose time anymore. So now we should bring all of this work together towards minimum global standards for safe and ethical use of AI. Our people deserve it. Honourable members, when I stood here 4 years ago, I said that if we are united on the inside, nobody will divide us from the outside. And this was the thinking behind the Geopolitical Commission. Our Team Europe approach has enabled us to be more strategic, more assertive, and more united. And that is more important than ever. Our heart bleeds when we see the devastating loss of life in Libya and Morocco after the violent floods and earthquake. Europe will always stand ready to support in any way we can. Or think about the Sahel region, one of the poorest, yet fastest growing demographically. The succession of military coups will make the region more unstable for years ahead. Russia is both influencing and benefiting from the crisis, and the region has become fertile ground to the rise of terrorism. This is of direct concern for Europe, for our security and our prosperity. So we need to show the same unity of purpose towards Africa as we have shown towards Ukraine. This is a must. We need to focus on cooperation with legitimate governments and regional organizations. We need to develop a mutually beneficial partnership which focuses on common issues for Europe and Africa. And this is why, together with HRVP Borrell, we will work on a new strategic approach to take forward at the next EU-AU summit. Honourable members, history is on the move. Russia is waging a full-scale war against the founding principles of the UN Charter. This has raised immense concerns in countries from Central Asia to the Indo-Pacific. They are worried that in a lawless world, they might face the same fate as Ukraine. We see a clear attempt by some to return to bloc thinking, trying to isolate and influence countries in between. And it comes at a time when there is a deeper unease by many emerging economies about the way institutions and globalization work for them. These concerns are legitimate. These emerging economies, with its people and natural assets, are essential allies in building a cleaner, safer, and more prosperous world. So Europe will always work with them to reform and improve the international system. We want to lead efforts to make the rules-based order fairer and make distribution more equal. This will also mean working with new and old partners to deepen our connections. And here, Europe's offer with Global Gateway is unique. Global Gateway is more transparent, more sustainable, and more economically attractive. Just last week, when I was in Delhi, we signed, I think, the most ambitious project of our generation, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. It will be the most direct connection to date between India, the Arabian Gulf, and Europe, with a rail link that will make trade between India and Europe 40% faster, with an electricity cable and a clean hydrogen pipeline to foster clean energy trade between Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, and with a high-speed data cable to link some of the most innovative digital ecosystems in the world, and create business opportunities all along the way. These are state-of-the-art connections for the world of tomorrow, faster, shorter, cleaner. We need more of them. And Global Gateway is making the real difference. I've seen it in Latin America, Southeast Asia, and across Africa, from building a local hydrogen economy with Namibia and Kenya, to the digital economy with the Philippines. These are investments in our partners' economies, and their investment in Europe's prosperity and security in a fast-changing world.